culture and colour. So far, this series has been an incredible journey through Africa's colourful and cultural fashions. Be it East, South or West, the continent's 54 countries contain remarkable garments influenced by long-standing cultural traditions. But there's one thing that's missing. To truly understand the scope and influence of African fashion, we've got to pinpoint the numerous designers who've spread these designs beyond the continent. Through Western eyes, African fashion has often been described as exotic or tribal. These are limiting terms that fail to capture the diversity of the continent and the sheer number of traditional garments, prints, textiles, and tailoring styles that exist. Despite this, some Western designers have not held back when creating collections inspired by the continent. Most notably, in 1967, Yves Saint Laurent released his quote-unquote African collection. Inspired by Malian Bambara sculptures, his models sashayed down the runway in cylindrical gowns made from raffia, wooden beads, and straw. Although such collections reference African culture, they do not represent it. As designer Duro Aluru stated in a New York Times feature, quote, "Africa has always been used as a reference point, but not as a valued source of serious fashion," end quote. The power of true representation lies in the hands of Africans and the mighty diaspora. Among the diaspora population of approximately 140 million people lies talented designers bringing recognition to the continent's fashions whilst also breaking down stereotypes about what these garments actually look like. The 20th century saw a number of prolific African designers find overseas success, like Chris Seydoux, the Malian designer who fashioned miniskirts and motor jackets out of traditional Balogan fabric, and Kofi Ansah, the Ghanaian designer who studied at London's Chelsea School of Art. Through his label Art House, he brought his homeland's fashions overseas by showcasing the beauty of bold textiles and patterns. Of course, we cannot forget Folashade Thomas Farm, the Nigerian designer who incorporated traditional textiles in her swinging 60s designs, and Sid Ahmed Al-Fadi, the Niger-based designer who brought his expertise to French luxury fashion houses like Christian Lacroix and Paco Rabanne. Over time, these African influences began to seep into the Western fashion scene, whether the general public was aware of its origins or not. Former creative director and American editor-at-large of Vogue magazine, Andre Leon Talley, has played a pivotal role not only in Western fashion as a whole, but also in bringing African influences into the Western fashion scene through his work at Vogue and other publications. Talley also ensured that the continent was always represented with the dignity and regal respect it deserved through his work. Another key example of African influence in popular fashion? 2 words: Dapper Dan. Before forging a successful luxury streetwear career in Harlem, New York, Dan traveled through Africa as part of an apprenticeship program at Columbia University back in 1968. Years later, he'd stumbled across a tailor during his travels through Nigeria and Liberia. After the tailor had fashioned a suit for Dan out of colourful fabrics, the rest was history. Bringing this African influence back to New York, Dan opened his boutique in 1982 and began designing streetwear for clientele from the community who desired luxury garments but had been rejected by the major fashion houses and department stores. The pioneer of logomania, he would screen print the logos of brands like Gucci and Louis Vuitton across premium streetwear, a look that soon caught on with hip-hop artists and luxury aficionados alike. Dan's influence on hip-hop culture and pop culture too subsequently cannot be understated. Artists and athletes like Roxanne Shante, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane to Salt and Pepper, LL Cool J and Mike Tyson all sported his clothes and even had their car interiors reupholstered by him during the pivotal golden era of hip-hop in the 90s. Today, some of the most influential fashion and cultural icons in hip-hop and pop culture, which are heavily intertwined today, still pay homage to Dapper Dan and are enlightening the next generation by sporting his incredible pieces, which range from luxury casual wear to three-piece suits, ball gowns, and performance costumes. Dan's influence on luxury brands like Gucci started with them initially copying his designs in their own collections before he later formed a partnership with them in 2017. The 21st century has also produced some incredible African-led fashion brands. Amsterdam label Daily Paper is one key brand that has found global success whilst resonating with Africans from across the diaspora. In their collections, Daily Paper references their African heritage whilst maintaining a contemporary edge. Their capsule collection, entitled Africa to the World, features varsity-inspired streetwear emblazoned with a recurring globe graphic. The graphic that focuses on the African continent embodies how the brand transcends borders by bringing together Africans from around the world. Now, the motherland's influence in the global spotlight is crystal clear. Whether it's through African brands on the runway like Tebe Magugu or Orange Culture, or distinctly African silhouettes modelled by huge celebrities, this influence will never just be a passing trend. This is culture. This is colour. Embrace it, celebrate it.